Hey there, editors, developers, STAs, whoever may be viewing this video. I'm going to be just doing a quick how-to and how to get started with WordPress and your WordPress site. So this is the dashboard. This is the engine of WordPress, if you will. This is what's running your site. Anything we do here, we can reflect and make changes here. So let's just get started. We're going to go, of course, to Pages. And as you can see, we've got a lot of web pages here. Just a page on your website. Now you'll see, of course, there's a lot of stuff here. In fact, there is a lot of pages on this site. But you'll notice there's not many pages linked here. So this brings up a good point in that if you add a page automatically to your site, it's not going to show up here. You're going to have to add it yourself. So that's kind of a good thing, because any changes you make here or anything you update here as far as making new pages goes, not going to reflect here. Of course, if you delete a page from here, it will go away from here, just FYI. The next thing we want to go ahead and do is probably concentrate on our lab site settings. This is important because, as you can see, this is going to be generally the content you see on the front page. Here's the quote we can use, our graphic. This site doesn't have a graphic, but if it did, you'd see it here. The profile image, of course, and just like before, if you make any changes, be sure to save them. Now, once you add your stuff here, you're going to notice that it doesn't just pop up here. I'll show you how to add that in a second. Kind of going down the dashboard, you're going to see another thing that might be important, mostly for you developers and for you STAs, is the simple custom CSS. It's going to be under Genesis here. This code here is going to be kind of necessary. In fact, I've got other videos that cover other topics. Again, this is just a quick how to jump into it. I would highly recommend checking out the other videos, which are going to be under here. Either be something like Labs Help or How to Use this site. It'll have a different title, but for the most part, just look for this question mark. This is great because actually I can simply tell you it just functions pretty easily. If you can find out the ID of the class of whatever you want to manipulate the CSS of, you can take that, make your changes in Firebug or Chrome or whatever it is you use, and paste your changes here, and then of course save it. Any changes you make will then reflect on just your site. A lot of these sites use the same lab theme, and any changes you make to the CSS, you just want it to reflect in your site, not all of the sites. And this allows you to just manipulate your own site's look and feel. Now, while we're talking about themes, we're going to jump into Appearance and Themes here. And make sure you've got the child theme, the Labs child theme selected. Make sure that's what you're using. Good chance you're not going to see anything else, but just FYI in the future, maybe for people who are starting a site, make sure that this is the one you're using. While we're here, go to Customize. And what's cool is this is going to give you like a preview of your site, of how it looks, without actually making any kind of like changes just yet. Most importantly here, we want to concentrate on the site title and tagline. This is the title of your site, which is here. This is the tagline, which is, tagline, if you're familiar with movie posters and stuff, and the tag they always use to kind of get your attention, that's where that is. Most of the sites you're going to be working with probably aren't going to be using it, so it's really not necessary or important. Other things you'll notice here are colors for your background, your header images, background images, stuff that you can actually control elsewhere. But if you wanted to just maybe quickly add them and see how it looks here, you can do that. I believe as long as you don't save, those changes won't reflect, so you should be good if you want to just check out something real quick. Click on. Next thing we want to go ahead and do is work on our menus. Now again, you'll notice, of course, that this menu has a couple of pages, but a couple of these aren't actually pages. Some of these are actually links to outside of the site. For instance, I just clicked on that link, took me to another page entirely. Since it's not an internal page, how do you link an outside site? Well, you can do it here under Menus. Here in Menus, you've got your primary menu for the most part, and then you've got other menus you can add clicking on that little plus sign there. And you can have quite a number of menus. things you can do, you can make a custom link like you've got here. You can call it whatever you'd like. In fact, if you look closely under here into Lab Blog, you'll see that's exactly what they've done. They've added their URL, their navigation label. One thing that's kind of cool, under screen options here, you've got a couple of advanced things to show. Link target, if we check that, it'll give us the ability to check off open link in a new window. So if we saved it like this, which I'm going to now come into your site, the pillow site. If I click on this, it's opened up a new tab, so I don't lose my site. I still got it here. But we don't know if that's what they wanted, so we're just going to change it back real quick. So moving on, we've got pages from our site here. Usually the most recent is going to show you, I believe, the most 10 or 15 recent pages you made. So you're not going to see everything here. But under View All, of course, you'll get to view all of your pages. Search, if you've got, like, say, a ton of pages like we do here. Maybe you don't want to, like, scroll through a long list. You can just search for the name of the page here. Categories, basically, if you start using post on your site, most sites probably won't, but if you start using post, and let's say you start actually treating WordPress, the blog functionality of it, as it was originally intended, you can add categories to your post. And categories is just like a way, of course, of categorizing a bunch of posts together. Maybe you've got a bunch of posts about dogs and a bunch of posts about cats. Well, you can divide it up so that anyone who goes to your URL /dog or /cats pulls up all those posts about one or the other. And of course in menus here, you can always create a link on your menu that just goes straight to that category, which is kind of cool. We're going to go to our widgets here, and as you recall, I showed you the lab site settings and how to add these, and here in widgets is where we get to actually finally use them. Now we've got our header right, primary sidebar, secondary sidebar, home left, center right, before content, footer 1, 2, and 3. This is the general. All lab sites should pretty much have these widget areas. Think of a widget area as a place on your site where you can add stuff, basically. This stuff here we've added through the widget areas. In fact, home left, home center, and home right basically show you exactly what we've got here. We've got our menu. There's no graphic here, so we probably don't need this, but we're going to leave it there because there's a little bit of space being taken up. Your quotation, or image, or text under the image, etc. If I was to swap these around, it'll make those changes. Refresh. We've got our changes made here. If I swap them back, refresh, bam, our changes are made again. Pretty cool. So, I mean, basically anything you do here should automatically reflect in the site. Now with that said, kind of looking at all these other things you can add, lots of possibilities of things you can do. For the most part, home left, center, and right, that's just going to be what's on your home page. Header right will be basically up here. Sometimes it's going to be in your actual header graphic. Your primary and secondary sidebar should go here and here, or here and here, whichever kind of layout you decide to use for your site. For the most part, they'll probably mostly look like this, but your sidebars will go here in the center somewhere. And then, of course, we've got before content, footer 1, 2, and 3. Before content, I believe, sits up here. Footer 1, 2, and 3 is going to sit here above these graphics here. Let's say that you want to add some photos and stuff. You go to Media, which is going to show you everything available to you in your media library. So we've got a lot of PDFs here. We've also got a couple of images, a couple of graphics, so on. And as sort of an FYI, the size limit you have for adding graphic and stuff, images, PDFs is about 9 megabytes. Should be plenty of room for anyone adding anything. Now to add stuff to your library, you just want to go to Add New, And you can either select files and go to where you want to find your graphics at and select them and then upload them. Or, what I think is kind of great, is that you can just literally drag and drop your image into here and it's going to upload it. And of course when I clicked on edit, it shows me the graphic, maybe like a permalink for it, the actual URL, some information, etc. I can just go ahead and delete it, of course, because we don't really need it, and it's gone. If we go to our pages, and let's say maybe you want it to be a specific place, you can just click on the Add Media button there, and you can access your library right away, or you can upload a file straight there. And it'll show up, of course, in your media here. Pretty neat. And with that said, of course, this again was a quick run through to kind of get you started and up and running. Anything other questions you might have, anything you're curious about, want to know more information, I would recommend going to this guy here again and checking out the other pages.